Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Simcha gedola, liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot besimcha. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot liot besimcha. Simcha gedola, liot besimcha. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give a smile, give a smile, give a smile, give a smile. Give a smile, give a smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Simba gedola, liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo, besimcha. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta bi nishmati bechemla raba emunatecha.
Smells good. Okay, so what's this? You guys were asking, what is this and why do we smell it? So Jewish people do a special ceremony on Saturday nights called Havdalah. Havdalah means to separate the holiness of Shabbos from the mundaneness of the week. And we have a couple things we do in the ceremony. First of all, we make a blessing on a cup of wine, special braided candle to add light. And the third thing is we smell spices. On Shabbat, we believe that we have a neshama yisera, a extra soul that gives us a spiritual elevation. When Shabbat is over, that soul leaves our body. So symbolically, we smell like spices. These are cloves in here. Take a look. You see that? In the olden days, if people felt faint, they would smell salts and different things to like revive themselves. So symbolically, we revive ourselves so that we could face the week ahead without this extra soul.
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Elli. It is Monday, the 25th day of December the 13th, Yud Gimel Tevet. The Torah portion is Vayechi, the last portion of Sefer Bereshis. HaYom Yom Sheini l'Shabbos, second day counting up towards Shabbos. We'll be learning the second Aliyah. How are you? How are you doing? How was your last night, not learning Torah? How did that go for you? I know it's a difficult thing because, we want to daven and learn all the time. And, as soon as you tell us we can't do it, it's something we want to do, right? I know. It's so weird. We are a strange people. What can I tell you? It's just how we are. So I hope it went well and that you played a nice game of chess or whatever it was that you did. And today we continue. All right, men and boys, take your two front sitzes. Let's make a bracha. Ready? Let's go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
Right. Everyone together, please. Al divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
All right. Abel.
הריני מקבל עלי מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
Torah Tziva.
Torah ציווה לנו משה מורשה קהילת יעקב. תורה ציווה לנו משה מורשה קהילת יעקב.
All right, and that takes us to giving tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
Fantastic, look at that. Look at that one. All right, now it's time to say the Shema. Let's do that. Men and boys and girls and women and everyone of all ages, cover your eyes. You ready?
Shema
You know what that means? That means it's breakfast time. That's right. I've got my coffee and my yogurt. What do you have? A cranberry blush today. Are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyah b'dvaroi.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
All right. And that. All right. Today in Jewish history, I got nothing. The Chabad calendar didn't have anything in, so I'm going to go to my secondary source here. But you got to give me 1 second because it takes a minute to load, and I will find it over here. Here we go. The first issue of the Siddur by the Hebrew printing press of the Amsterdam was published in 1626. The Empress Maria Theresa ordered the expulsion of all the Jews of Bohemia and Moravia. The decree was dropped everywhere but in Prague, and that was in the year 1744. In 1798, the first Jewish censor was appointed by the Russian government to censor all Hebrew books printed in Russia or imported from other countries. There were anti-Jewish riots in Ancona, Italy in 1798. And in 1868, Romanian Jews were barred from the medical profession. Unbelievable, right? And in 1939, Hermann Göring appointed Reinhard Heydrich the head of Jewish education. Jewish emigration. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. All right. Yeah, why didn't this get changed? I so thought this got changed. So excuse me 1 second here while I change that to make sure we have the right dates up here. We don't want a mistake. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Wow, what a big boo-boo that was. All right. Trax New York City. A famous person recently met up with Yossi Farrow, and this happened.
Now, silent prayer between you and God. Ask God for what He'd like for you and your family. This is a time for everyone to do a silent prayer. Just talk to God. Pray for what you need. Thank God for what you got. And just know that there's a lot less unfortunate than you. So just thank God for every blessing you have in your life.
What a mensch, huh? All right. Azriel is here.
זה ללא גלוטן, יא רבי. שמעתי בדיחה ממש טובה, וחשבתי לספר לכם אותה. חמאס, תרתיחו את המים, צה"ל בא לעשות לכם שחור. ישראל, תרתיחו את המים, הקדוש ברוך הוא בא לעשות לנו נס. ואני אומר, תרתיחו את המים, כי אכלתי עוגיות שיבואו פה ליד התה שלכם. וגם, יש לכם חבר שרגיש לגלוטן, שלחו לו את המתכון הזה. להיות אגוזים מ3 מרכיבים, והסוד שזה ללא גלוטן. אז תרתיחו את המים, ופשוט תצטרפו אליי. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. וואו, מה זה הטעם הזה? זה ללא גלוטן, יא רבי. ועם הכוס תה, בכלל.
Gluten free. Lelo gluten. He's a force to be reckoned with, let me tell you. One of these days, you're going to hear big, big things from this young man. All right, HaYom Yom for today.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו ביום.
I'm sure it's happened to you before that you've been very disappointed by the way people around you are behaving. It could be after dinner and nobody is willing to lend a hand and help clear the table. Or it could be at the office when something needs tending to and nobody is ready to take the initiative. There's two ways of dealing with this problem. The first way is to write a long memo or give a long speech to anybody who is ready to listen to you about how bad, how negative, how wrong their behavior is. That's one way. Today's HaYom, which is the shortest entry in the entire book, has another solution. When a street lamp is erected, all those seeking light gather around, for light attracts. The Hasidic solution is to model a better way, is to model a better behavior. And then it's just a question of time before others will gather around you and follow suit.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right, and now a word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com. Trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign@gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe.
All right, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwitheli.live/new computer. That's it. That's what we are hoping for and wishing for. We just got an anonymous donation of another $600 towards the computer, putting us up to 1,000 in the campaign, which is really exciting. All right. We've talked about the name of the parsha, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more in our overview. The name of this week's parsha, the last parsha of the book of Breshis, the first book of Torah, Vayechi, means "and he lived," referring to how Yaakov lived the last years of his life in Egypt. Since we know that the name of a parsha expresses the contents of the entire parsha, we could think that a parsha entitled "He Lived" would be devoted to an account of the major events of the person's life. In fact, however, Parshas Vayechi is devoted to the exact opposite: the events leading up to and following the death of Yaakov. In this parsha, Yaakov bestows his parting blessings on his children and his grandchildren. He breathes his last and is buried by his sons in the cave of Machpelah. And then, followed by the account of the death of his favorite son and designated successor, Yosef. Parshas Vayechi is thus reminiscent of Parshas Chayei Sarah, as we mentioned yesterday, whose name means the life of Sarah, even though it focuses on the events that occurred in the wake of her death. As we explained with regard to Sarah, we only attain true life when our ideals live on in those who come after us. Paradoxically, then, as long as we're physically alive, it's not at all clear if we're truly alive. The test of true life comes only after our death. If our descendants remain true to the ideals we've imparted to them, it then becomes retroactively clear that we were also alive during our lifetimes. If not, then it follows that even while alive, we were essentially dead. We'll continue this tomorrow, God willing. It's a short overview today. All right. In the second Aliyah, Yosef presents his two sons, placing Menashe, the firstborn, to Yaakov's right and Ephraim to Yaakov's left. Yaakov, who was nearly blind at this point, crossed his hands, placing his right, the more prestigious hand, on Ephraim's head. He blessed them, Hamalach Hagol Osi Mikol Ra, may the angel who redeemed me from all harm, Yevarech es hana'arim, bless the youths, and may they be called by my name and the name of my fathers, Avram and Yitzchak, and may they multiply abundantly like fish in the midst of the land. And I have a surprise for you. At the end of our show, we're going to play that song. I know, it's so cool. All right, Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Avtson. Here we go. Morning up. And that's pretty cool. All right. And that takes us to Parsha Points with Rabbi Epstein.
Parsha Points Vayechi for Monday. Why do Jewish people compare it to fish? Because they like to go to school? Two young fish swim past an old fish who asks, "How's the water?" The young fish says, "What's water?" Sometimes the hardest thing about our awareness of Hashem is our inability to not be submerged in Hashem. There's no way to get outside for contrast or comparison. So be like the wise fish and know that the water, Hashem, is your life.
Fantastic. Absolutely great. Shnayim Yomi for today.
Perashat Vayechi, Aliyah Sheini. Now Yosef, he brings his two sons, Menashe and Ephraim, to Yaakov Avinu for the final beracha. And what he does is he places Ephraim, which is the younger one, to the left of Yaakov, and the older one, Menashe, he puts him to the right of Yaakov. Why? Because we know that the right hand is Yamin Hashem, Yamin Hashem Asahayil. He wants that Yaakov Avinu places his right hand on Menashe, the older one, and the left hand, he places it, he wants him to place it on Ephraim to give them a beracha. So Yaakov is blind at this time, and it says, he's blind because he's an old man at this time. And he puts his hands on Ephraim and Menashe. However, what he does is sikel et yadav. He puts his hands like this. He crosses his hands, which means he puts his right hand on Ephraim, the younger one, and his left hand, he puts it on Menashe, seemingly the opposite of what Yosef wanted to do. And he gives them a beracha. The beracha is, HaMalach HaGoel Oti Mikol Ra, יברך את הנערים ויקרא בהם שמי, ושם אבותי אברהם ויצחק וידגו לרוב בקרב הארץ. Which means that the malach the angel that took care of me the whole time, he should give a beracha to these neharim, to Ephraim and Menashe, and they should multiply and be fruitful in the aretz. And the rabbis ask, what does that mean? Be fruitful in the aretz? It means in a homiletic term or in a symbolic meaning that even when a person is in da'aretz, even when a person is mit'asek begashmiyut, even when a person is in materialistic things, he should never forget to always multiply and be fruitful in Hashem's name. Always try to bring Hashem Shamayim. And who better do we have than Ephraim and Menashe, where they were in Mitzrayim, the epitome of Ervat ha'aretz, in the impurity of the land, and they were the ones who held the crown of Judaism up. And that's why, as we will see Ba'azat Hashem in the next Aliyah, that our barakah to all our children is Yisimcha Elhim Ke'Ephraim V'Chim Menashe.
We have Michael Kiggle for you today.
Should toxic environments be avoided at all costs? Great question, Michael. Thank you, Michael. But what exactly do you mean by a toxic environment? Well, say a workplace. Say you work in close quarters with a group of people who are always cracking disgusting jokes, denigrating women or people of a certain creed or color. So the question is, should you quit your job? Or worse, you live in a really bad part of town where people are always drinking to excess and smoking marijuana on the sidewalk and having rowdy parties late into the night. So the question is, should you move? Precisely. What's the Torah say? So in the Torah, in the book of Genesis, we actually have the paradigm of an idolatry-infested, morally depraved, toxic environment. You mean Egypt, the new kingdom, dynasty. 18th, Joseph is viceroy. Jacob's son, he the man. And in fact, Jacob, Yaakov Avinu, has been living in Egypt for many years, and he's on the last lap of his mortal coil when he's visited by his beloved son Joseph, viceroy of Egypt, who brings along his own sons, Menashe and Ephraim. The frail old Jacob manages to sit up on the edge of the bed and give Joseph his blessing, whereupon Joseph presents his sons, putting Menashe, the firstborn, on Jacob's right and Ephraim on his left, so that the patriarch can put his hands on their heads as he blesses them, giving the firstborn the more powerful benedictive blessing of his right hand. But Jacob crosses his hands. The old switcheroo. But Joseph says, no, Papa, this one's the firstborn. Exactly. And Jacob tells Joseph, I know, my son, I know, he too will be great. But the younger one will be greater than he. And this explains if toxic environments must be avoided at all costs because each one of Joseph's sons entails a philosophy of how to deal with toxic environments. Philosophy, eh? Say, aren't you a doctor? The philosophy of each one is encoded in his name. When Joseph had his first son, he named him Menashe, because God has caused me to forget Nashani, my father's house, and consequently I longed to bind myself to the memory of my father's house. Menashe's philosophy says you have to protect yourself from the bad influences of your environment at all costs. And he named his second-born Ephraim because God has made me fruitful, Hephrani, in the land of my affliction. Which means you have to engage this environment despite its potentially negative influence in order to redeem it and in order to thrive in this land of my affliction. So if I work in an office with a bunch of disgusting Neanderthals, I shouldn't necessarily quit. I should try to influence them, if you can do it. Well, let's not go overboard. There are situations that are so bad where quitting is the best and the right course of action. Let's not forget that the Jews did leave Egypt. Exodus. Exit this. Right, but wait, back to the blessing. Why did Joseph want Menashe to get the right-handed blessing? Well, let's not forget that Joseph himself, living in idol-infested, morally depraved Egypt, had made tremendous heroic efforts to hold on to his moral integrity, the ways of his father's house, and so he wanted Menashe to have the stronger blessing. He wanted Menashe to be able to teach future generations how to withstand the temptations of a toxic environment like Egypt. Nice, and I guess Jacob saw beyond the immediate need for self-protection. He saw that the ultimate purpose of life is to engage the world, to engage it precisely in its toxicity in order to influence it, in order to redeem it from its toxicity. And so he wanted Ephraim to have the stronger right-handed blessing. So Joseph was wrong? Joseph Joseph Hatzadik wrong? Right. Joseph was not wrong. Right. The key thing is the order. Joseph was entirely right to put a healthy, robust, strong Jewish education first. But the whole point of this type of insular, morally inoculated education is to go out into the world in order to transform it in a positive way. So a toxic environment should not be avoided at all costs? Not when you've developed your own moral fiber to the degree that you can detox it, the environment. And I suppose that it's in engaging a toxic environment that you come in touch with your own moral wherewithal for the first time, which wouldn't have happened if you stayed at home. Ready?
Beautiful. All right, and now we have time for Reb Zusha Zilberstein. We love this, yeah?
Friends, a little tzedakah, a lot, a little, whatever it is, as long as we give some tzedakah together in the pushka, and this will, in Mirz Hashem, bring us the ultimate blessing. G'doyle tzedakah shemekareves es ha-geula. Tzedakah is the power that it hastens the geula. So, Ebishter, no, hasten already. It's slow. So we have tefillah, we have tzedakah, and now Torah, which once again, the three of them together is what is our support, our pillars for our entire existence. Yesterday we spoke a little bit about Yirmiyahu Navi, the prophet Jeremiah. And we mentioned that he became a prophet at a very early age, young age, and he was frightened of this responsibility. And he told God, I'm still a young lad, I'm still a young man. And God responded, don't be afraid. So the Rebbe takes this conversation between Yirmiyahu and God as a conversation which we all have with God. Our soul has with God. And let us look at a few of those verses and see how beautifully the Rebbe interprets that. Pasuk says the following. When Yirmiyahu tells God, I'm concerned, God tells him the following. B'terem etzorcho, B'terem etzorcho babeten yidaticha. Even before I formed you yet in the womb, I knew you already. Ubeterem teitze merechem, and before you emerge from the womb, higdashticha, I have sanctified you. To what? Navi, to be a prophet, lagoyim nesaticha, to the nations I have given you. Says the Rebbe, this is a conversation that every soul has with God. A soul is sent down into this world. And the soul is concerned, apprehensive about its responsibility of changing the world, of making this world into a godly place. And voices its concern to Hashem, for which God responds to him and to the soul and says the following. Before I even formed you, before I created you in the womb, Yedaticha, Das, I knew you. The Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, on the three levels of Chachma, Bina, Das. Das represents connection. So God says, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Understanding represents being connected to the idea. V'Adam yoda es Chava, says the Alter Rebbe. Adam knew Chava, connected to Chava. So God says the first thing to the neshama, don't be afraid of your mission, because we are connected. You are connected, integrally connected to me. And then it goes further. Not only are you connected on the highest levels before you were created, but it goes further. Even before you came out of the womb. In other words, now that you're getting ready to go out of the womb and to start your mission, Higdashticha, I have sanctified you. Kadosh means separate. You're different. You have different qualities. You have different capabilities. You have those strengths. Why? And Navi lagoyim nesaticha. I made you into a prophet for the nations. What nations? Your own nation, which is different than you. Your nefesh abam is your animal soul. So I have given you the powers, the capabilities. You're connected. I'm holding on to you. You're sanctified. You're different to be able to accomplish that mission. So comes Yirmiyahu and said, I understand that. I know that on that level I'm very connected and very holy. But he says, I do not know to speak, for I am a youth. He says, but when I have to deal with others, I'm not connected. I'm not Yediyah. I don't know. So I'm concerned about the mission when I have to go out into the world of adversity, into a world of corruption. Will I be able to function there? I'm still young. No experience. And God says, don't say you're a young man, you're a child, you're a youth. Because wherever you go, I go with you. So God tells the neshama, you're an integral part of me. You're holy, you're separated, you're different. And you have a mission. You'll be able to accomplish this mission because I am going with you. I don't leave you on your own. I take you. I lead you by your hand. And you do your part. And this way, we will have the prophecy of Yirmiyahu of the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash now.
All right. There you have it. You like that? Okay. And unfortunately, we are running short on time, so let's go to Tehillim.
Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, Tisoyre Chavatzeles HaShoroim.
All right. Chapters 23 and 122 today.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא אחסר, בינוס תשע, ירביצני, על מי מנוחוס ינהלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני ומעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגיא צלמובס, לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני, כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
שמע לישראל דוד שמחתי וימני ויסעלינו יני אלי אוים דייסו יורה אלינו בשורייך ירושלים ירושלים הבנויה כאיש יחור עלי יחדיו ששמו שבטים שבטי העדות לישראל להוידייס לשם עלינו שם ישבו חיסייס ומשפט כיסייס לבייס דוד שאלו שלוי מירושלים ישבו אוי הבויך ישאלי מיכאלך שבה ויעמנה יסע
Yidei Amir as the Hillim Ve'al Yidei Amir as the Hillim Tisoyre Chavatzeles
We're actually doing Tanya. Tanya for the 13th day of Tevet. Very strange.
Tanya thoughts for the 13th of Teves. Remember this: FID, F-I-D, frequency, intensity, duration. How often, how engaged, and how long are my deviations from my godly mission? The Tanya gives us helpful markers to gauge our relationship diversions as a measure to help get us back to where we need to be in alignment with God. Knowing where we are is step number one to getting where we need and where we truly want to be.
Let's talk Tanya for the 13th of Teves of a leap year. Up until this point, we've been talking about the godly soul, the animal soul, but as distinct entities. We're talking about each one of them individually. We spoke about, the substance, the core components, the structure, the agenda, the expressions of each one of them. And then in yesterday's Tanya, we spoke about the home base of each one of them. The godly soul is based in the mind, and the animal soul is based in the heart. But from everything we've learned up until this point, you might walk away with the impression that they're both busy minding their own business, and each one has their own thing, their own desires, their own agenda. And in today's Tanya, we're going to find out that that's actually not the case. There is a major struggle that's going on constantly between the godly soul and the animal soul. The example that the Alter Rebbe gives is of two kings, and both of them are fighting for sovereignty over, there's a small city. The small city is the body. You have the two kings, the animal soul and the godly soul, and both of them are struggling because both of them want to be the sovereign of the city. They want to control every single part of the city. To use a more modern day analogy, maybe we could compare it to, imagine you have all the computer hardware. You have a keyboard, and you have screens, and you have a mouse, and you have a speaker, and you have a webcam. But there are two computers. And both of these computers, each one wants that all of the hardware should be connected to it. The same thing is also over here. We have the godly soul as one operating system, as one computer. We have the animal soul. It's another operating system. It's another computer. And each one of them wants that everything should be plugged into it. The godly soul wants that the body should be plugged into it, which means in every area, in every which way, starting with the mind, that the mind should be filled with godly thoughts. And that's going to cause the heart to have godly and divine and holy feelings. And if a person has holy feelings, automatically that expresses itself as in holy thoughts, speech, and action, holy behaviors. And the animal soul wants the exact opposite. It wants that the mind should be filled with self-centered thoughts, which leads the heart to have self-centered feelings, and which ultimately that will lead to self-centered thought, speech, and action. So what we have over here is that, and this is something we've spoken about in the past, is that the struggle between the animal soul and the godly soul is not only about what will I do? Will I do a mitzvah or will I do a sin? It's an identity struggle. It's who am I? Each one wants that the entirety of my being should be an expression of it. The godly soul wants that every part of my body should express it, my mind, my heart, and every one of my limbs. And the animal soul wants the opposite. This is the ultimate struggle, which is going on 24/7. At every moment, the godly soul wants me to be a vehicle for it. The animal soul wants me that I should be a vehicle for it. Now, we're saying over here that the godly soul, its desire is that my mind should be filled with godly thoughts, and that should lead to godly feelings. What exactly are those godly feelings? We know that godly feelings are love for God and awe for God. Those are the two basic holy feelings that there are. In tomorrow's Tanya, we're going to find out, however, that there are two different levels or categories of possible love for God. Both of them are part of the agenda of the godly soul, and we'll explore this, God willing, in tomorrow's Let's Talk Tanya.
Thank you for joining Tanya in 5. Today, the 13th of Teves, we begin chapter 11. Chapter 11 in one word is Rasha, the wicked individual. We spoke about the righteous individual, and now we speak about the opposite end. And in the righteous, we had two levels of righteous. So likewise, we have here two levels of the wicked individual, one opposite the other. So the wicked man who prospers is antithetical to the righteous man who suffers. What does that mean? By the righteous, it means that the wickedness is subservient to the good. And here it's the opposite. The goodness that's in the divine soul of this wicked individual is subservient to the negativity of the klipa of the animal soul, which is in the left part of the heart. Now, this is subdivided into myriads of degrees that differ from one level to the next in the amount of nullification that the good is nullified to the negative. What does this mean? It means as follows. From the higher end, the Alter Rebbe explains that it can be an individual who in a very minor way and very infrequent intervals that the evil has dominion over the good in him on a rare occasion. And even in that case, it may only be that it's in certain parts of his being that he's overcome. In other words, not in the entire body, but maybe only in an action alone that he does. And in action, we're not talking about a heinous crime or some terrible thing. Or in speech, for example, like he may speak on things that border slander, but not slander itself. Or it may be contemplation of sin that the individual would be engaged in, and that contemplation would not be of something that would be totally forbidden, but something that would not be appropriate for him. And again, he only does it from time to time, and it's only in a certain area of the person, not overcome entirely with the animal soul. Yet the animal soul is clothed within him and inducing him to sin and to be defiled. Now, this individual may be at this moment doing that. However, he will then be filled with remorse and will seek pardon from God and forgiveness from him. And of course, God will forgive him, and he will be the type of individual, since this happens infrequently, it will be the type of individual that will actually make changes in his life. And therefore that evil and that wickedness that was a part of him will be removed from him. Yet we have another level. Another individual who is also called a Rasha, but doesn't have the strength to overcome and rid himself of this negativity. And therefore this individual is constantly full of remorse. As Chatoim, as our sages say, that Rishaim Malem Charata, that the sages say that this individual is full of remorse at all times. And for the most part, this is most individuals. The first level is a higher level of the Arasha. This is the most part who most of us are, that we do not have the inner strength to overcome and to really make those changes, and therefore we're full of remorse at all times, trying to rid of ourselves of that negativity, of that evil from within. Then we have a third level, or actually the second level of the Rasha. Those are two levels within the first level of Rasha, of a Rasha, and he's not a complete Rasha, rather. And then we have the complete Rasha. A complete Rasha is an individual who doesn't have remorse, who always has an excuse for everything that they do. And as a result, they're the wicked who suffers, and their soul always remains with that stain within them because they're not seeking forgiveness, they're not seeking to correct things. Yet, as the Alter Rebbe concludes in chapter 11, he says that the good within that person is there, but it's aloof. It's not really affecting them. It doesn't really have an impact in their lives, even though it is there. And we know that, as the sages say, that over 10 people, the divine presence, the Shekhinah, hovers. What does it mean that it hovers over that the 10? Meaning, even if those 10 are 10 people that are a Rasha, that the good in them is not affecting them. Why? Because it hovers over them. It's not incorporated within them, yet the divine presence is there. Meaning, the goodness of their soul, of the divine soul, is there. They are a Jew nonetheless. However, that divine soul is not really having an effect upon their lives, and that is the complete Rasha. And with that, we conclude chapter 11. Thank you for joining Tanya in 5.
Fantastic. Sefer HaMitzvahs of the Rambam.
No, it's not impossible that Rebbe did say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss
Baruch Hashem, it is day number 247 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer HaMitzvahs, and in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah, we are starting a new section of Halacha today, Hilchas Gneva, the laws of theft, chapters 1, 2, and 3. Remember, this is the second section in the new Sefer, the new book that we began, Sefer Nezikin, the book of damages. We had Hilchas Nizke Momin, which we just finished yesterday, and now we have Hilchas Gneva, the laws of theft. Okay. 2 mitzvahs today, a negative commandment and a positive commandment. The negative commandment is negative commandment 244, the prohibition against stealing. Do not take other people's possessions. Simple. Positive commandment 239 is the mitzvah that obligates us to follow the laws of the Torah regarding the thief's restitution. There are various laws regarding a thief's restitution, and it's our obligation to see that justice is done when somebody is a thief. So this includes various different details. For instance, the remuneration that the thief has to make. So the standard remuneration is double. He pays back double. However, there are exceptions. If he steals sheep, then it's 4 times the principal. If he steals oxen, then it's 5 times the principal. If, however, he admits the theft before it's discovered, then he just pays back what he stole. This mitzvah also includes a very rare exception where there is the permission for extrajudicial justice. That means a vigilante act where a property owner is allowed to take the life of a thief to prevent the thief from potentially murdering. Also included in this mitzvah is the provision that if a thief is unable to make the payments that he is obligated to make, if there's no other way for him to make these payments, then the court may sell him into a period of indentured servitude in order to pay off his debt. Okay, those are the mitzvahs for today. We will see you for more tomorrow, God willing.
Today we study negative mitzvah 250, which is the prohibition against onah, which literally means cheating. The Torah says that when conducting transactions of buying and selling merchandise, we are not to cheat each other, specifically meaning by overcharging or underpaying. The way Torah sees this, when a person is overcharged or underpays by less than 1/6 of the market value of the object, he is not considered to have transgressed this prohibition, because people generally tend to not mind if a change in less than 1/6 of the price is made. But if a person overcharges or underpays by 1/6 of the market price, he must return that extra money, or in the case of underpaying, he must pay the extra 6 that he's missing. If a person is overcharged or underpays by more than 1/6, then the entire transaction is considered invalid.
Great stuff. I love it. And that takes us to matters of Mashiach. All right, for today, the 13th day of the month of Tevet, when Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa died, there ceased to be men of action. The term men of action, anshe maaseh, means those who were confident enough in their status to work wonders. Now, we must be aware of our true status. By studying Chassidus and following its ways, a person comes to realize that at his core, his essence is really Hashem. When a person spreads these teachings outward, he reveals that Hashem is the true existence of the outside world as well. And this awareness gives a person the strength and confidence to fulfill Torah and mitzvahs with complete dedication, despite any apparent obstacles that may come up. Here's Shmuel Tzvi. sometime today.
My friends, we're in the final generation, the last generation of exile and the first generation of the coming of Mashiach. The Mashiach is coming not just for the Jewish people, but for the entire world. Moses redeemed the Jewish people. The Mashiach will redeem the entire world. If you're Jewish, it is your mission to follow all of Hashem's laws in the Torah. And if you're not Jewish, it is your mission to follow the 7 laws of Noach. That is how you fulfill your purpose of creation. And that is how we bring the redemption. And that is how we maximize the experience we will have when Mashiach comes. All the reward and revelations that we will experience when the Messiah comes are dependent on our service right now. Everything that's going on in the land of Israel is all a preparation for the coming of Mashiach. All of our good deeds help accelerate this process. May we be redeemed immediately.
Amen, amen, amen. All right, our PSAs.
On a fast day, it is very easy to relate to people who don't have food. The rabbis of the Talmud teach us that a fast day is not complete if you don't share the amount of food you would have eaten that day with the poor. And in Aramaic, they say, Agra de Tanaisa Tzidkasa. That means the real fast is when you share your food with the needy. So please, today, make a donation to Masbia and help us feed the needy all year round. Thank you.
All right, Masbia Soup Kitchen and Food Pantry, available by texting the word food to 726-879, 726-879. 7 days worth of pantry food and hot meals every single day. If you'd care to give to their campaign, go to masbia.org and donate today. All right. In Rockland County, it's tomcheshabbos.org. In Lakewood, it's tomche.org. In Chicago, it's the Chicago Food Bank at breakfastwithelli.live/Chicago Food Bank. Achiezer.org is available for all your other needs. Whatever it is that you are in an emergency need of, Achiezer can help you, all right? So contact them, and if you need to, you can contact them 24/7, 365 days a year. And don't worry about it. An emergency is an emergency, all right? Hatzalah EMS, available with their brand new Global Assist app. Not so new at this point anymore, but still. Download it today and put it on your home screen, all right? Very important that it be there in case somebody needs to get a hold of emergency services for you. Miss Oskim in times of bereavement is there to help you out. They will do everything from A to Z and everything in between. They can help you arrange for burial. They can help with Shiva. They can help with chairs or Sidurim or a Sefer Torah. Whatever it is you need, they are there to help. Just One Shabbos, dedicated to bringing our youth back to the beauty of keeping Shabbat, one Shabbos at a time. And if you are, God forbid, you hate crime in progress, please call 911 and report it. And while you're out and about, you need to be wearing a mask. We've talked about this. We've talked about this.
Wear a mask. Is this really much to ask? Tie some fabric round your face. Oh, it's the simplest of tasks. At the gym, at the store. Don't treat it like such a chore.
All right. Also, please make sure to get your vaccinations. They are available, readily available now. You don't have to worry. All right. You can get a vaccine. You only have to get one a year. If you haven't gotten the RSV vaccine, you only have to get one in your lifetime. Isn't that great? All right, let's bring some heaven. Life is fire. We are being a flame. Mostly, we burn with anxiety, with the angst of survival in a hostile world. But we can harness our own fire. We can stop, contemplate, meditate, and pray. With these, we can a different fire. Fire of love for the infinite light that lies beyond this world and encompasses all things. One fire follows another. Free. Liberated from fear, we face the world no longer as slaves, but masters. Want to understand the impact of that or discuss it with me further? Come to me at any of the Actors Rabbi groups at Clubhouse or Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, or the Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai ha'olamim. All right. We're going to do hip-hop live. I've got a few versions of it, but all right. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Pespro Riddle, Tarzan Orchids, Dignity Design, Dr. Susan Spitzer. Sorry about that. Dr. Bracha Biederman, Avi G in the UK, who was with us and then left. I guess he had to go someplace. You can become a sponsor by going to patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/new computer to help us get that new computer. All right. It is Monday. Go out and make it a glorious day. Be the reason someone smiles. In the words of Rabbi Zakamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close, and Hashem will draw you close to him. Nittel is over, so you can learn Torah today. Don't worry about it. It's a great day to learn some Torah. It's a great day to do some mitzvahs and help people out. And I will, God willing, see you tomorrow. Hamalach hagoel osim mikol ra, the angel who protects me from all evil. Make it a great and glorious day and be the reason someone smiles. See you tomorrow.
One more time. I noticed in the third verse, you weren't looking into the center. You two.
Hamalach hagoel oti, Hamalach hagoel oti mikol ra, yevarech et hane'arim, v'yikarev ba'em shemi. Hamalach hagoel oti, Hamalach hagoel oti mikol ra, yevarech et hane'arim, v'yikarev ba'em shemi. V'shem avotai, v'shem avotai, Avraham veYitzchak ve'yitgu larov, ve'yitgu larov b'kerev haaretz. V'shem avotai, v'shem avotai, Avraham veYitzchak ve'yitgu larov, ve'yitgu larov b'kerev haaretz, b'kerev haaretz. Nay, 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 nay.